Breaking news now, a Valley priest is now facing charges accused of sexually assaulting 2 kids under the age of 15.
The Maricopa County Attorney's Office says that a grand jury is indicting John Dallas Spaulding, also known as Father Jack, on 7 felonies for sex crimes involving children in the early 2000s. Team 12's Bianca Bono joins us with the live breaking details. Bianca.
Well, guys, details are coming in by the second. At this hour, we're learning more about John or Jack Spaulding's time as a Catholic priest here in Phoenix. The Phoenix Diocese says Spaulding was suspended in June of 2011 after an investigation found allegations against him of sexual misconduct with a minor were credible. Then the diocese said they received another report in June of 2019 from another male who said Spaulding also assaulted him as a minor. Father Jack was a pastor of St. Timothy's Parish in Mesa when he was suspended, and the Maricopa County Attorney says he was a priest at St. Tim's and at St. Gabriel's Catholic Church in Phoenix at the time of the alleged abuse. In a statement, the Diocese of Phoenix says it's, quote, committed to providing a safe environment where it values and honors every individual as created in the image and likeness of God. Bishop Thomas Olmsted and the Diocese of Phoenix urge anyone who has been a victim of abuse or who may have any information concerning these allegations to call the Maricopa County Attorney's Office or their local law enforcement agency. Again, a grand jury is indicting John Dallas Spaulding, also known as Father Jack, accusing him of sexually assaulting 2 kids under the age of 15 in the early 2000s. Now, coming up on 12 News at 6, you'll hear from the county attorney, and we're headed out to St. Tim's in Mesa to gather more details on this breaking story. So keep up with the very latest on the 12 News app throughout the night. Guys?